where I want it to be. I'm going to do a square lash. So square lash, we don't want any diagonals like this. We want to always keep our line running across perpendicular to our frames that we're tying together. And you'll see why that's the way we do it as we go. I'm going to come around here, back around this one. I'm always pulling it tight as I go. And this is really important. All the weight of all the material that we put on this shelter after this is going to be held up by what we're doing right now. So I'm going to go, because of that, I'm going to go 4 wraps. So we're on, that was number 3 we're starting here. As we come around this time, this will be the 4th. I'm just kind of dressing this all, making it nice and straight because it is able to tighten up better that way. Okay, so we have our square lash. Now is what really makes this a very powerful knot. We're going to go between our pieces here. And as we pull this, it pulls all of those wraps that we did even tighter. Really pull on this. I'm gonna do 3 times on that too. All the time, I'm really pulling it tight. There we go. And this is a super duper strong way to attach these. Our ridge beam's going to sit right up in there and it's going to hold it up perfectly. Let me get you in here and show you kind of how this is working. So you maybe have seen this weaving thing done on different programs where they're building survival shelters. And it's kind of made to look like it's pretty easy, but you can see I had to take off a layer. I'm working up a sweat, even though it's pretty cool and cloudy up here in the Northwest today. But I wanted to show you kind of a tip if you ever build one of these. It's really difficult to get started. So right here in the middle, you can see how, let's see, this one goes over and this one's under, and it alternates, right? It's a weave. So picking a few really nice bendy sticks and starting with them right here to close together. That way you can lift these up as you need to, and then you can work these down so that they run kind of right in the middle of the run and hold everything together. Otherwise, you've got these things trying to lift up off the top, lift up off the ground. It's a real mess. So that is a helpful way to get started, is to put 2 right next to each other that alternate, that kind of help tie everything together before you get started trying to work in the rest. So one thing that's kind of handy is when you're building an A-frame like this, where we've got our rafters coming up from both sides and sitting on this beam, these pieces that stick up are going to make it so that there's no way we can put any amount of material on the top here that's going to seal this up and keep rain from being able to get in. So it's a good idea to come back in here and trim these down so that we don't have all this extra sticking out. I'm going to do a quick walk around and show the progress so far on the shelter. Here's the opening that's going to be the door. And around here, we've got this side almost done. It's all insulated and covered. And then around here is the second side I'm working on. We've got our rafters running here and all of our green twigs weaved in. So this is like super strong. None of that can move. It's all locked in place. It comes around here and it goes right up against the tree. And now we're back to the entrance. So that's what it looks like so far. Okay, so it's starting to rain a little bit, but I wanted to show you the difference between these two sides. Now this is the side that you've been seeing me work on. We did the weave. Now I'm covering it with cedar boughs because that's what's available here. And these cedar boughs do a pretty good job of running the rain off. Now the other side, which you didn't see me working on over here, it is also covered with cedar boughs. And then on top of that, we have the leaf litter and the materials off the forest floor to help build some insulation. So it depends on your circumstance. If I was trying to build this as quickly as I possibly could, and it was a short term to maybe even a little bit longer term, I would probably stop here unless it was winter time and it was really cold. I would just put these boughs on so that it sheds rain, gives me some protection from the elements, and I would call that good. And what's nice with this rain is I can kind of put a few on, cover it pretty well, and I can continue to, as I'm out looking around for other resources, I can cut additional boughs and add them into spots that are maybe a little thin or rain is getting in, and continue to improve it over time. So here we are inside the finished shelter. I've got my trusty oil lamp. Probably something you wouldn't have in a survival situation, but when you're bushcrafting and you're out here just having fun, it's pretty great. And you can see the opening, which you saw from the outside, and my camera is sitting on my backpack right now, holding up the camera. But if I needed to, I could take my backpack and kind of prop it up against the hole here, and I'd be totally enclosed. Pretty neat shelter. Kind of cool having this hole in a tree to climb through to get inside. And you know, it's a very useful thing to have a small opening. You know, it's not real convenient. You can't get in and out very quickly. But if you're trying to warm it up in here or keep it warm, holding your body heat, you want to have a nice small opening that you kind of have to crawl through. That way all your heat that you build up doesn't just go right out your door. So, pretty fun project. Took a lot of time, probably 2 days to get this all done, and I could keep going. We could keep adding on to it and keep making it more insulated, more sealed up. So there's a good lesson, I think, to learn here. You see sometimes on television these awesome gigantic shelters. This one is about 4 or 5 foot. I can't stand up in it, and it's just long enough for me to lay down and have room for a few items. And you could probably fit 2 people in here, but it's pretty small. It took me 2 days, and that's when I can eat. I can go back up out of here, and I can get real food, real sleep, plenty of water. So you can imagine what it would be like if you didn't have food and you didn't have access to water, how many calories you'd have to use to build something like this. So they're really fun, and I enjoyed doing it and showing you guys. But sometimes in a real situation where you just needed to do the minimum, maybe this would be a little too much. It would just depend on your situation. So hopefully we could learn a few things from this, and we ended up with a really cool shelter. We'll see how it goes later. Hopefully it will rain and we can see how it does in the rain, but well, we'll see.